Hello and
Hi.
welcome. Hi. Welcome to the Ask Dr. Shani channel. I am Dr. Shani Collins Woods, Assistant Professor of Social Work, author, and a cousin and sister to these beautiful women here today. And we want to welcome you to this channel. We'll start by introducing our co-host, Kanika Collins Sharp, my sister, who is an HBCU grad. And
Hi.
tonight we are having a conversation with our first cousin and sis cuz, Miss Khadija. Oh, Horton. She told me not to tell her government name. Welcome to the platform, Khadija.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You are quite welcome. On this channel, we talk about all things success, self-care, healthy boundaries, and faith and spirituality. And so to continue our HBCU Excellence series, we thought that it would be great. Kanika in particular thought it would be great to invite some of our cousins. Because if you watch the first YouTube video, we talked about our family dynamics and how we have so many HBCU graduates. And so our sis cuz, and that's a name we kind of came up with a long time ago. We're cousins, but we're also sisters. And so Khadijah is an HBCU graduate, and we want to just have a conversation with her tonight about several things. And hey, let's get it started. Are you ready, Khadijah?
Ready. Can I do one thing before we start getting into
Yeah.
it? I want to mention and give a shout out to all of our aunts and uncles that have attended HBCUs. The ones who attended Mississippi Valley State. Want to start with Constance Osborne on Constance. My mom, our mom, Cassie Osborne, and her twin, Cassie Jr. Who else? Who else attended Mississippi Valley?
On Joyce. On Joyce.
Joyce
Joyce.
Osborne, and
Uncle Robert.
Uncle Robert. Okay, and then
Yep.
the other half went to Tougaloo, right?
Yep. They sure did.
We have
So
Khadijah's mother, Aunt Alice.
Aunt Alice, we'll talk about her tonight.
Uncle Solomon, Aunt Ruth, Uncle Henry, Aunt Dot, and Uncle Joe.
Yep. And shout out to our grandparents. I mean, because that's amazing.
Yep. Yeah, right.
Absolutely amazing during the time, and just, sending those kids to college. I talked to grandma one time, our grandmother Doris McCool Osborne, who passed away in 2017. And I said, Grandma, how you and granddaddy send all those kids to college? And she was like, picking beans, So they were small farmers and landowners, and still have land in the Mississippi Delta, and so they really left a great legacy. So we appreciate them, and thank you, Kanika, for mentioning that and bringing it up. So Khadija, to just get it started, tell us about your perspective on being a Tougaloo College student and your experience attending the Eagle Queen, the Tougaloo.
I had a great experience. I wouldn't have changed it for anything, but it was just awesome. It had a rich history, and just it was just awesome. I really don't think the kids these days will have an experience like what we had back in the day, because we didn't have a vehicle. Everybody just had to come together and make new friends. But it was an awesome experience.
Okay, great. So one of the things we know is that you started in 1 year, but you finished several years later. And I think that's a common theme when we start thinking about students. Life happens to all of us. Sometimes we have situations where we have to sit out a semester, and one semester turns into two turns into another year. So can you speak to that and talk about the reality of life and how that played out for you and the blessings that came from that, but also what that experience was like returning to school after a period of, after a hiatus?
Well, I started in 2004, didn't finish until 2020. I really feel like I told you, previously, I should have sat out a little bit until I decided exactly what I wanted to do. Because when I went to school, or, growing up, I didn't necessarily know exactly what I wanted to be. So what I wanted to do as a career. So when I went to school, initially I just took a lot of general ed courses,
Mm-hmm.
and after a while I decided on a major, social work with the emphasis in sociology. No, sociology with the emphasis in social work. I ended up dropping the social work because I didn't like the professor, but that's neither here nor there. But I don't know. I went, and then like you said, life happened. I had my first daughter, and in 2009, I was supposed to graduate in 2008, but
Mm-hmm.
I got my first daughter in 2009, and yeah, I moved out of the city. I moved to Laurel and started working. Had another child and kept working, and just I wanted to get back to school, but it just wasn't in the
Mm-hmm.
cards for me at that moment. But
Mm-hmm.
Right.
really, after life happened, and then several, just all my family supporting me, I went back after a job change, and I was able to finish and reach that goal.
Yeah,
And
and we're
So
proud of you.
thank you.
yeah, yeah, we're very proud of you. Yeah, that is awesome. How hard was it to come back after you had, you know, taken that time off, and then you had Khalees, you had your first child, and then you had your second. How hard was it to
It was
maintain to get in there?
it was tough, and when I started versus when I came back. So I started under one
Mm-hmm.
catalog. Then I had a couple. I had to meet with the president, the vice president.
Hmm.
Trying to be able to come back under the catalog that I came in under, but
Previous, yeah.
yeah, that didn't work. So I had to come in under the new catalog, course catalog. So
Mm-hmm.
the things that they required when I came back weren't what they required initially. So that
Right.
made me have to take a couple more tests, and then I had to take a couple more classes. Initially, all I had to do was write my paper, but being that they changed the requirements, now I had to take another. Like we had the EWEP, the English Writing Proficiency Exam. Now they have another
Mm-hmm.
test called I think it's a Robert Denny test. I can't remember the name of it, but it's another
Mm-hmm.
vocabulary test that you have to take. And now, when you're a senior, you have to take a test on the entire department. So classes that you've taken from your first year to your last year, things are going to be
Yeah.
combined in tests for you to take to get out of that division, to get out of to pass out of the department. So I had
Like
to take that.
comprehensive.
Yeah, comprehensive.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to take another session of senior seminar.
Okay.
So
Wow. So
Right.
that's a lot to overcome and to really walk through. And I think it's encouraging in what you're saying because a lot of students have had a similar experience like you. We all, start with one intention, and sometimes that intention doesn't always manifest in the way we think or in the time that we think. And I think
right,
it's good that you're open and willing to share that because it's an experience of so many of us, and not just with school. It could be with marriage, it could be with having a baby, a house, it could be anything. We plan things this way, but it doesn't necessarily always work on our timetable. And then when you're trying to do it, you
Mm-hmm.
face obstacles and challenges. And I think your story is true of many HBCU students, but also many Black women and just Black folks in general, big people in general. We all have a
Yes.
common story just as human beings. And I think, we're very proud of you. We're beaming with joy, and just very proud of your success, Khadija, because I know it's not easy. Just listening to you say that, I was exhausted.
yeah.
Thinking about
And
girl,
then
I
that's
was
one thing that I had to tell them. That's one thing because one of the courses that I needed, they were offered on the same days at the same
Hmm.
time, and they were in the middle of the
wow.
day. So a
Right.
working mom can't, that's why I had to switch jobs because my job wouldn't accommodate me having to leave for a class. And that's
Mm-hmm.
one
Mm-hmm.
thing I voiced to them, why would you have a class at the same time on the same days? That's not accommodating for non-traditional students, which was
In
what
the
I was.
middle of the day, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It was, I want to say it was on a Tuesday, Thursday. So those classes are longer. So I think it was from 11 to like 12:20 or something like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
I just
Yeah.
told them, this, you're not for the people that you're trying to educate.
Well, I think that's important. I think the student voice and the alumni voice, now that you're saying that, and people who watch this video can also relate to that, because I teach in the graduate program and we try to make sure we have classes at night or classes that can accommodate the students that we serve, because the students are the consumers at any university. And so what you're talking about is very common issue. You're working, you have 3 beautiful children, Khalees, Carrie, TJ, and you're working full time. How do you manage all that and still try to, finish this goal that is out there? So we applaud you and hats off, and thank you for, being an advocate for yourself. Because
right.
Mhm.
And for people that's coming behind you,
Absolutely.
because they can keep that in mind. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because everybody isn't a cookie cutter student.
Right. Everybody has a different path.
Everybody. Right.
But overall, your experience at Tougaloo, was good. You had a great experience.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I had professors. I mean, if it weren't for them, I probably wouldn't have finished.
Right. Ooh, yeah. Shout out to who? Dr. Kamal?
Uh-huh.
Dr. Kamal.
Shout out to Dr. Kamal. He was
That's
diligent.
good. So we were talking about Kanika. Well, Khadija and I were briefly kind of discussing our family dynamics and how we have grown up in a family just as cousins that have, really high standards for us, and how sometimes that pressure makes you feel, as a student or just as a person in general. So how, Khadija, have you dealt with the pressure that comes from our parents and that has come from our entire family? Because even though, we all have different moms and dads, it's a very enmeshed family, and Al's gonna have something to say about what's going on in Shani life, and my mama gonna have something to say about Khadija, and sometimes it's when they say it to us, it's encouraging, and sometimes it's like, it could be it's overwhelming. So speak to that, Deja.
Well, I Khadijah's own way. What I take from it, I take from it, and if I just don't take anything from it, but
I mean,
listen, as I've matured and grown, I listen to it, take what can from it, and don't take, sometimes it can be the tone of voice, and it can be so much, but I just try to listen with open ears and an open heart, knowing that whatever message they're giving me is from a good place.
That's what I was gonna say. I think as I've gotten older, I'm more open, to listening. I listen, but it's like, okay, another lecture,
Right.
I try not to be disrespectful or try to listen and be attentive. But I think as I've gotten older, what'd you say?
I said sometimes the delivery can deter you from what the actual message is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think that comes from they mean well. They mean well.
Yeah.
But that may come from having a different experience and like a different struggle, because they grew up in different times and really, and we have, they just grew up in a different time, frame and time era, and their energy is a little different.
And they're, you know what, I will say they're so passionate about us being successful, because they don't want us to, fall by the wayside. They want us to continue on their legacies. And I could get it. I can appreciate it, really appreciate it now and understand it more now that I have my own children. And then I look at your children, Khadija, and Kai's daughter, and Taki's son, and Shama's kids, and Nia and Rhonda's kids, and Talise and Charles' kids. And I just look at it more and say, we need to be active in our siblings, sis cousins' lives, and our own kids, just to make sure that they're ready to go for the world, because it's hard. I get it now. No, if we didn't have any that direction, we would be mad at them. So, they were just doing the best they could. But like you said, sometimes the way they told us was, a little bit off.
Right.
But
Yeah. It was, okay. So what about what about work life balance and mommyhood, Khadija? Speak to that. You have three beautiful children. How do you juggle it all with all you have to do?
It's hard. It's hard. Um, Especially, when I was in the retail world, it was really hard because you don't have that time off, or when yeah, it was hard. But with the support of my brother and my mom, for sure, that's the only way I can balance it all. But luckily I've gotten a new job and I have weekends off, so and it's an 8 to 5 job, so it works for me, and I feel like I'll have a work life balance going forward. Um,
Mhm.
and just trying to take time for me whenever I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I appreciate you for mentioning it. That time for ourselves is so important, and that's why we want to bring you on, and we're gonna have to get Kai up here too, because
Yeah.
we all know that we're accountable to each other with like exercising. And for me, that has been really helpful during this pandemic, just being able to hop on Zoom and talk to you and Kanika and Kai and Taki or whoever
Oh,
joins, just to have those conversations with my cousins and just to laugh with y'all. And I know, Khadijah, you always say it's cathartic and therapeutic.
it's
What do
cathartic.
you guys think about that?
Oh, I think it's been the best thing that we could have ever decided to do. That's
Yeah.
why I decided to start paying for the Zoom because we wanted to have as much time as we could to talk to one another, and to get to really know each other. Because we don't spend a
Right.
lot of time together, maybe family reunion, holidays. And we talk, but it's always rushed. It's a day or so. And I think
Right.
this allows us to really, really, really get to know each other and,
Right.
document everything as well. No,
Yeah.
I think it's been great.
Yeah, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't imagine going through this pandemic without it. But I really
Oh,
feel like it brought us closer than ever.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. I
Mm-hmm.
can't
Yeah.
wait till we get the Zoom crew on here. That's what we need to do.
Yeah.
Get the crew on here.
Yeah, we should do like an all cousin, type of stream yard or something, and we all just kind of share. But yeah, that'd be great. And Khadijah, one of the things I also wanted to mention, your mom and has been influential to us as well. Because when we were at Tougaloo, Aunt Alice would make these care packages for us, and
Mhm.
just stuff that we needed. And she is a woman who always just gives, like, it's particularly to us, and of course to all of her nieces and nephews. But I know specifically, Alice has done just so much to kind of, help us, in so many different ways. And we just
Right.
appreciate her for doing that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah. My
She does
freshman
it.
year in college. Oh, what's that, Deja?
I said she did it for my nieces.
Oh,
Still
really?
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. My freshman
That's
year in college, we had this huge bag of toiletries. I didn't have to go to the store. I just
for
got from
months.
the bag, Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for months.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we appreciate
Anytime we
that.
need like a suit, do you need a suit for this? Do you need a suit? I feel like some of the half of the suits and stuff, dress suits and stuff in my closet are stuff nice, expensive stuff. It's stuff your
Mhm.
mom, has gifted us, and just like here, and I can wear this to my Delta meeting from
Right.
Aunt Alice, and so we certainly appreciate that,
Yeah.
about her.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
So what's up with y'all and Damian Lillard? I don't know anything about sports. Y'all gotta teach me, child. I don't know.
You should know about the Nika games.
I did, but I feel so bad about that because I feel like I wasn't present. You know what I mean? I was there, but then I feel like, wow, and when I look back in hindsight, I'm like, this is a really empowering women's history moment Kanika is making, being a female athlete, in small town, rural. And like I contextualize it differently now. And I'm like, I want to go back and I want to, go back to those games and be like having women roar. That's what I want to do.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
I think it was a great experience for Sydney. I mean for Khadija. Khadija, I know you worked in high school as a statistician, didn't you?
Yep, I did.
Yeah, with sports, and you got involved that way. You
You
love
did that
basketball.
too, Blue, too.
Well, I did it. So the only reason why I did it in high school is because I wanted to go to the basketball games, and I was trying to
Right.
go.
Yeah.
So I asked the coach, and he was like, yeah. So I didn't even travel with the team because my mama would let me travel with the team. But I used to do the home games, and when they went to the big house, I did the big house, and I fell in love with it. Just learning the ins and outs of the game, what a free throw. I just did all of that, the fouls and all of that. But I enjoyed it, and then it took me over to Tougaloo, and I did that as my work study job.
Work study, right? Yeah.
My intramural sports yesterday. That's what I did. I did the stats for that. I even tried to DJ a little bit.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I did it.
You need to do a Zoom for us then.
At one time.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's fun. Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed my time playing, and I remember Shani was a cheerleader, and you were a
cheerleader, Shani. I started.
It was literally like one semester, and then when those practices, I'm just starting. When I start on time, and I was like, "Baby, we gotta go study. Like we're supposed to be here at 6:00, and this thing is starting at 8:30. What are we doing? I gotta go." So I dropped off cheerleading. Nope. Girl, listen. And it's so funny. I don't know why I wanted to be a cheerleader, because I think I wanted to be a cheerleader in high school, and I didn't. And people can say discouraging things, and particularly about body weight. I remember going to some type of like thing at high school, and the cheerleaders in high school were doing like a training, and we were there. It was like anybody could come to this cheerleader camp or whatever mock camp, and so they had the actual high school cheerleaders, and they threw everybody else up, and they were doing all this stuff. And I think someone made the comment, I can't, lift you up or pick you up. I'm not going to be able to kind of do that, And so it's kind of like, well, that stuck in my mind. Nika, you were saying about how somebody said something to you yesterday. That stuck in my mind. And so I was like, well, I know this will never happen, in high school. And I remember trying out for the cheerleader squad at Tougaloo, and I made it. And after the little tryout, just cried. I went somewhere and cried because I was like, I know I didn't do it. I didn't, but it was just something I just really wanted to accomplish, just so I could just, feel that sense of validation.
You weren't even a heavyset girl in high school.
People say anything. People say anything, and not really. And I don't blame that particular girl. I just blame the whole. You got to look at it from a larger perspective. What her ideal standard of beauty was, and the standard of who is and who can and cannot enter certain spaces. Right. And so she probably had no conversations about women and body image, because we weren't talking that way then,
Yeah. But that's one thing I tell police too.
Sorry you had that experience
in general about, how people they'll talk about you because, for one, they may be jealous of you. You're smart, beautiful, insecure, so they say something to try to tear you down or the next person.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which is crazy, and it's unfortunate that we have to deal with these things, but it's good to put voice to that and to talk about that. And I appreciate so much when I listen to you guys, and you talk about dealing with preteen girls and your children, your sons and your daughters, and the things that you guys are doing to sow into their lives and to shape them, mold them. I think you guys are wonderful mothers, because you're doing a great job, and it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
And no one can ever say motherhood is an easy job. It is a lot of work, taking care of three little people, which is, and then you're trying to take time for yourself, and it's so hard to do. So hats off to y'all.
Yeah, thank you. Hats off to you. You're a great auntie as well. Yeah, Khadija, you do a great job with your kids. Like someone said, motherhood, the hardest hood in the world is motherhood, because
it's book, no nothing.
No, you just learn as you go, and you try to be the best that you can,
Mm-hmm. And before you know it, they're out of the house, because y'all have babies that teenagers, next year.
Mm-hmm.
What's all gonna do? Mm-hmm. You're like, hold up.
Lord have mercy. But our kids are good kids right now, and I know we're just grateful for that. And I think what the way that we are raising our children, is the same way that we were raised. having a foundation, with education and family, and how, we allow them to interact with, our cousins and their cousins, and, to see you all and to say, oh, that's TT Cuz, Khadija, TT Cuz Kai, so they'll be, and so, Kai, if she feels like, or Khadija, or any of you guys feel like Sydney's doing something wrong, or one of the kids is doing something wrong, you would tell me. And, like a village almost, takes a village to raise your kids. And I think we're doing that with our children.
Yeah, y'all are doing a great job. And I just hate that, we aren't able, because we've all grown up going to family reunions, and that's just been a big part of our lives. We just, everybody traveling together, whether we were going to Texas or Michigan or Greenwood or St. Louis and Little Rock, Arkansas, anywhere. We've all gone to family reunions probably since our birth, because they were doing them before, we came around.
And, we will always go together. We will always get in cars. Everybody would pile up in cars. And that was the best time. I enjoyed all of that,
So many memories I have. And it's just such an amazing, when we think about that family dynamics, because so many people just don't have that experience of years where you can we've documented going to reunions, but also being on program. I was looking for a copy of the Freedom of Family History. I was like, I want to read this on my channel one day, just to verbalize our family history, because we grew up reading it at the family reunion. That long 4 or 5 page thing. Look, good God, sometimes be a good microphone. But I'm glad, toward the end they put a condensed version. But it's good to know, because as Black folks in this country, we don't know our history, but we have our stuff, written down, and that's a blessing.
Yeah, it is a blessing. And, like you said, during the family reunion, younger child didn't appreciate it. Like, oh my goodness. But I'm so glad that the elders, really, 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 really wanted to make sure that we understood and that we were aware of our, history and heritage and where we came from, and all the other elders that since have gone on, but who were instrumental, in our lives. So, yeah. I think that's important. And I think you should read it, do a YouTube just to read it, to make sure that it stays out there. Send me a copy.
Which one y'all got a copy? I want somebody send it to me, and I will get on here and we can read.
Yeah, probably Solomon. Yeah. And also back to HBCUs though, that's the same atmosphere that you would have at a HBCU, a family or family experience. Right. With your professors, from the professors, even to the staff, and not just the staff that works in the offices, but the people who were custodians. They were always nice and friendly. Your RAs. Yeah.
That's true. I remember coming out of Clark one day, and I was so grossly discouraged because I had to write a 150-page thesis at Clark. And it was very intense. I was like, I went to this master's program, but it was like a PhD program. And I remember just being so discouraged one day, walking across campus, and this lady stopped me, and she was a custodial engineer. And she was just like, baby, just keep going. You're going to be okay. And I don't know why she spoke those words. Maybe she looked at my face, but I think that's so important. And that's why it's so important. Like when we're in those spaces, and even when we ascend to wherever God has for us, it's always important to remember the people who clean the floors, the people who keep the lights on in the building. Because oftentimes you think it's the higher up people, those professors and people that's going to look out for you. Sometimes they may, sometimes they may not. But I can guarantee you that person who's, doing some of the work, or that we make some I don't consider menial, but some may say, well, it's menial or insignificant. Those are the most significant people to any experience.
No,
especially
I
trying to graduate.
Yeah. They are like aunts and uncles, when you're in college away from home, they're always encouraging us, and you see them like, hey, Miss Mary, because you know them by first name, you know them well, So,
and think about where would we be if somebody didn't look out for us in the cafeteria line, at a HBCU, or, keep a hot plate for a student, who may not have the resources. Those are the things that you can really appreciate about HBCU community and culture.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I agree with that.
Y'all going to any homecoming games or any homecoming activities? I know COVID, Khadijah, you like, nope. Nope.
Nope. I went the last
No.
time. You know, they normally had the Tougaloo picnic, but I
Yeah,
only went once. I
yeah,
only went.
Yeah. No,
yeah.
I'm not. I'm not looking forward to any of that. I think I set out,
Mm-mm.
maybe another year.
Yeah. Are they
Yeah,
having it?
I'm not
I don't
sure.
know.
I'm
I
not sure. I
say,
don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, probably
I
not. I
went the
see
last
Clark is
time.
advertising. You said could it be virtual? It will be virtual.
No, I said my mom went the last time they had it.
Oh, okay,
Mhm.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I know Clark is having homecoming, and I was like, oh, that would be so fun to go back to Atlanta to their home because Tougaloo, we had just had Founders Week. Really didn't have like a whole homecoming, but later they started the alumni gathering experience, kind of like our homecoming, and that's always fun. But no, 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 not with COVID.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Hmm. So,
Yeah.
any concluding remarks, ladies? This has been really good. I've enjoyed, learning, and Khadijah's always good, and I appreciate you for sharing your experience. As coming back as a non-traditional student because and how resilient you have been and overcoming, and you still pushing forward. So you are HBCU excellence, and we salute you and we applaud you for being HBCU excellence. Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank
Mm-hmm.
you. Thank you
Yeah,
for joining us, Deja. We appreciate you.
No problem.
And
Thank
thank you,
y'all for having
Shani, for
me.
having us. Thank you. We appreciate it.
yeah. I
It's a
always
great
will.
platform.
Well, thank you. You guys have great platforms too. These are Sis Cuz accountability partners. Well, to all of our viewers, thank you for watching this stream with the wonderful Khadija Horton and the wonderful Kanika C. Sharp. And until the next time, we pray that you all are blessed and lift up somebody as you go about your day and just say a positive word. Be like that lady who encouraged me, send a smile somebody's way, and just tell them they're going to be okay. And if you're thinking about a college, consider HBCUs. But as we always say, HBCUs are not a one size fit all. Do your research, figure out what financial resources are out there. If you are a non traditional student, if you're taking some time off, hey, it's okay. Talk to the people you need to talk to. If you're determined to finish your degree, go and finish that degree. Don't let anyone stop you. And even if you have to transfer to another school, that's okay. Just make sure that you are, walking out the purpose that God has for your life and doing what's going to bring you happiness and joy. And if you choose to not do it, that's okay also. You
Right.
have to do what's going to be fine and okay for your life. So those are my concluding messages. Thank you for following us. Give this video a big thumbs up and let us know what you would like to see during the next conversation or who you would like to see us speak with next. Thank you all and have a beautiful evening.